Good morning, everyone. The topic of my conversation today is rock solid self trust, which is my new program. And in a nutshell, rock solid self trust means that you have overcome your anxiety and your self doubt. So if you have self trust, if you have this deep and abiding self trust within yourself, if you have that inner confidence, if you listen to that inner voice, if you have that self belief, all else follows. That's why I like to call it your foundation. That's why I like to call it your bedrock. So, this is a program where we have a consultation call first, and we talk about your issue. And then I talk about how I work with you, how I work as a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. And then I get some words from you, which are really going to help you in the recording. And those words are your personal words that I write down and I weave into the recording later on, along with some of the information that I pick up in our hypnosis session. So then after the consultation call, then we have this 1.5 to 2 hour session where we take a really deep dive into what is driving you. The subconscious is one of three parts of the mind. So you have this sort of pyramid shape with the conscious level at the top. And then the middle part of that pyramid is the subconscious. And then the unconscious is at the bottom. And so the subconscious is where all of the experiences and events of our lives are stored. It's like a deep reservoir, or I like to call it a deep well, full of experiences and events. And so when we go into a hypnotic state, the brain waves change and the mind becomes more suggestible. And when you're more suggestible, you're more interested and curious about going back to certain scenes that have something to do with the fact that you're anxious. They have something to do, they're connected in some way with self-doubt. And so these experiences, from those experiences, you form at a very young age a belief. So for example, if you grew up in a home where there was trauma, then you form a belief that maybe life isn't safe, that you're not safe to go out and do this or do that or make that decision. You don't feel safe. Or maybe there was trauma in the form of a parent or a relative who abused you. Then you would feel maybe that if it was a man, that men are not safe, or that I can't trust people, or I can't trust men. You keep your distance from men. So there are many different beliefs that we form. I personally formed a belief that the world was not safe, that I wasn't safe in the world. Actually, that's more to the point. I wasn't safe in the world because of something at birth, so it's really pretty tricky when something happens before it's a pre-verbal experience. And so I have spent the better portion of my life dealing with that feeling that the world is unsafe. And if you don't feel safe in the world, then it's really hard to operate with confidence. And I definitely have had my share of anxiety. But now, with this rock solid self-trust that I have, I want to be able to then to share it with all of you, because once you have rock solid self-trust, once you have that foundation, once you have that bedrock, then there's no real reason for the anxiety to be generated. I have a story to tell about someone I worked with recently who refers to herself as having Asperger's syndrome. She is an adult, and when she was young, she was persecuted for not fitting in because she was different. She was a very high-functioning Asperger's child, but still, was different enough to stand out and be teased, and she had struggles at home in her family. So now she's an adult. She has some children, I think 3 children. 1 or 2 of them have had a autism diagnosis. So she is on a campaign, this woman, to help her children, but to destigmatize autism, to destigmatize Asperger's syndrome, and to campaign for them and be a champion for people with autism. And this is a wonderful goal and a wonderful life work. And so she's dedicating herself to doing this, but she was very uncomfortable talking about her own struggles and giving herself that label. She was really reluctant to be out in the world and be public with this label of, I have Asperger's. She didn't want to use that term. But after working with me, she had that deep and abiding sense of self-trust to say, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to present to the world. I am going to present as someone who has Asperger's. This is what I do. She's using this on her public platform. And she said after the session that she had with me, she has had an influx of interest and an influx of clients. And this is all because she decided that she would be true to herself. And she developed, through listening to the recording, this deep and abiding sense of self-trust. So rapid transformational therapy is fast and effective. And this is the method that Marisa Peer has created, marisapeer.com. She's all over social media, and she is a wonderful trainer and teacher. And she had a wonderful and amazing over 30-year hypnotherapy practice. She helped loads of people around the world with a host of different issues. I am narrowing in. My broad category is anxiety, but I've realized recently that rock solid self-trust is the foundation upon which you build your self-confidence, you build your sense of self-esteem, your self-love, right? Your self-acceptance. All of these things come from that first level of rock solid self-trust, where you know that you believe in yourself and that you are enough. So we come down through the training and subsequent trainings that I've had with Marisa at her school. We learn that there are really 4 things that I usually can remember at least 3 of them, sometimes 4. The first one that everything boils down to, these 4 things. One is, I'm not enough. And most of us feel that way at one time in our life. I'm not enough. And you can add an adjective before that. So I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not skinny enough. That has been one of my favorites. I'm not skinny enough. Some people might think I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. Anybody going through grad school might be feeling that, maybe just in the world. I know that when I go back for college reunions, I often feel I'm not smart enough. Anyway, so there's that. The second one is, I don't belong. I don't fit in. I recently talked with somebody who was a physician for his whole adult life. So he had an over 40-year career as a physician. And in the United States, we look up to physicians. We look up to doctors. We put them on a big pedestal. They have a lot of status and they earn a lot of money. They have a lot of credibility, right? But he felt like he never belonged, because when you're a physician in the United States, you are part of the Western medical model. And he always felt like he had one foot in a more alternative way of approaching medicine and approaching healing and approaching wellness. For example, he really embraces meditation and he loves to do yoga. There aren't many doctors who practice yoga and do meditation. So he always felt like he didn't belong. It was very surprising to learn that. So that's the second one. The third one is, I don't matter. I don't matter. I don't have anything significant to add. But the truth is, all of us have strengths. All of us have talents. All of us have gifts to offer the world. We just need to figure out what they are, and then have that deep and abiding sense of self-trust to go out and offer those things to the world. Because when we do the things we love to do, when we're offering the things that we uniquely have within us, then we find our joy and we find our passion. And that is true. When you're so excited about going to work because you're doing something that you love, the money naturally follows. That is not trite for no reason, right? We've all heard that, and it's just so exciting when you can get out in the world and do something that you're really comfortable with, because it's your gift, it's your innate gift, it's your talent that you were born with, that you came into the world with. So there's that. I don't have anything significant to offer the world. It's not true, but it's a belief that you may have formed when you were younger. And then finally, the fourth one is I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable. I'm not loved. Pretty common, pretty universal. So those are the four things that we usually uncover. We usually uncover at least one of them during a session. So I am Lydia Hill. I am a RTT practitioner. I work on rock solid self-trust, and I would love to help you. Reach out to me. My website is lydiahillhypnotherapy.directory, and I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. So look me up and reach out. I'd love to work with you. Rock solid self-trust. It's where we all need to begin. Happy Saturday, everybody.